An interesting thing about narcissists is that they come across so much more magnetic and alluring than other people do. Not always, but usually they have a certain magnetism and allure about them, and they have the ability to draw people's interest towards them more so than most people. And there are a couple of reasons that they're able to do that. First of all, narcissists know when they've targeted somebody, they know what that target might find interesting in a person. They know what that target might find appealing because narcissists do a lot of diligence, I guess you can say, on their targets, and they quickly get a feel for what might appeal to the target's tastes and what might appeal to the target's interests, and just kind of pull them in. Narcissists are quite sensitive in a sense. They get a they get a good feel for what other people are feeling. That's part of their cognitive empathy, which they're quite rich in. You have different types of empathy. While narcissists are not very high in compassionate empathy, they do have a lot of cognitive empathy, which is they can kind of place themselves in the target's shoes to know what the target's feeling and what might interest the target or what might upset the target. They have an above average ability to read people in that way. So narcissists, they quickly read and do their diligence on the target, and they can see what might really appeal to the target. And the narcissist, what they do is they really play off those factors. So if if the narcissist, for example, finds that the target just seems to be in a bit of a rut where they find maybe the narcissist can see that the target thinks their life's been boring for the past many years, a lack of excitement, for example, the narcissist will immediately portray themselves as being somebody super thrilling, adventurous. They'll really play that persona to really appeal towards the target's sense, what the target wants, which is that kind of thrill in their life. And when the narcissist does that, and then the target sees the narcissist playing that persona, the target can't help but think and feel, oh, well, this person, I like them. They have this certain personality about them, which just seems to resonate with what's been missing in my life. And that's something I'd like to have a bit more in my life. So the target, so easily find themselves attracted to the narcissist. So yeah, putting on that persona of excitement, of thrill, of being somebody very adventurous, that's just one example. I mean, there can be countless examples, but the bottom line is, one reason why narcissists can be so appealing and alluring and magnetic towards others is that they put on a certain persona that appeals to just what the target wants, and they put in a lot of effort at the beginning to make that happen. And average people who are, let's say, who are more kind of emotionally healthy, who are not in the cluster B spectrum, for example, or don't have any other heavy disordered ways of thinking, the average person wouldn't go so far out of their way to try to manipulate somebody into liking them just to hook them in later, to kind of disregard and discard the person. That's really something that narcissists do, and some other types of disordered individuals do that too. But narcissists, that's one of their hallmarks, is that they'll do whatever it takes to hook the person in, and they'll put a lot of effort in the early days to really drive that hook and sink it in the target. And then once they know that the hook's been sunk in and the target's dependent on them and doesn't really know how to live without the narcissist, that's where the narcissist starts pushing the person away, applying the push-pull, and really messing with the target's minds, messing with the target's emotions, and just throwing them off kilter. So it really is, I mean, it really comes down to two things. Like I said, on the one hand, it's the narcissist's ability to read what the target's feeling, what might appeal to them, which goes back to the cognitive empathy, which the narcissist is quite high in. And secondly, it's just the sheer amount of effort that narcissists put in at the beginning. You combine that effort with the knowledge they have about the target, and they try really hard to reel the target in, because they know instinctively, narcissists know, once they've hooked that person in, once they've got that person under their thumb, they've got months or years potentially of supply to come out of that target. Once they really hook the person in and do all their other, let's say, dirty work on the side, perhaps that involves isolating the target from their peer group, getting the target solely dependent on the narcissist, knocking the target's self-esteem down to an unhealthy level, all this other stuff that goes around it, together with the fact that the target is becoming dependent emotionally, and sometimes in other ways as well, sometimes financially, dependent on the narcissist. The narcissist knows that if they put in a lot of effort in the early days to really create that bondage, that the target will feel stuck. Even when things go south, the target still won't know how to leave. And then the narcissist can play the target in just the way that they need, for the target to serve the narcissist's needs. Whether it be just giving the narcissist the validation they need, giving them all types of supply they might need, whether it's sex, whether it's just being an object of projection, somebody to do them favors, somebody, the projection aspect is really, really key, because narcissists project everything about themselves that they struggle with, whether it's feelings of loneliness, feelings of shame, feelings of anger, feelings of paranoia. They need somebody to offload that through, and they need somebody who they can play with their minds to really get the target to feel what the narcissist is feeling. And then when the narcissist sees that they've successfully made the target take on those feelings, and the narcissist gets relief. So they're really projecting all these feelings of like paranoia, loneliness, emptiness, shame onto somebody. And that goes on for a long time. So going back to the initial aspect of the initial allure, the initial appeal, the initial magnetism of the narcissists, that's all, they're just, what the narcissist is doing, they're just using one of their abilities, which is their richness and cognitive empathy, together with the need to hook somebody in for the purpose of long-term supply. Just putting those things together, the narcissist really creates that allure, that magnetism. And what they do is, when they have a target who's taking the bait, when they have a target who they consider to be a good supply who's taking the bait, they're just all in. They're all in until they get the target all in towards them. And then once the target's all in towards the narcissist, then the narcissist can relax, take a step back, start pushing the person away just to pull them back in, and then pushing them away again, and just playing all kinds of games with them, which, in a nutshell, is just giving the narcissist all types of supply that they need to feel better about themselves.